Hari Om. Welcome to Pravachana Malika talk number 16. We are very thrilled to have Professor Shiva Kumar Chaturvedi talk to us on Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana, Swaroop and Darshan. And today we'll have a Sangeeta Anjali after the chanting, the introduction to the speaker, and Professor Shiva Chaturvedi will give the talk. And we have concluding remarks by Professor N.C.B. Nath and vote of thanks by Saraswati. So we'll start with the Veda Kusumanjali. Please go, sir.
Yes, please start.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Bhadram Karne Vishwanuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhir Yajatraha Tirairangai Stushtvagum Sastanovihi Vishema Devahitam Yadayuho Sastina Indro Vruddhashtravaha Sastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi Swasti no brihaspati'r dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Om Agne Naya Supataraye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yodhyasma Juhuranameno Bhuishtante Namavuktim Videma Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranaschakshuho Shotramata Balamindriyani cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahmopanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuriyam Mama Brahma Nirakarotu Anirakaranamastu Nirakaranam Pinnastu Tadatmani Nirate Yopanishatsu Dharma Te Mayi Santo Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranaschakshuho Shrotramato Balamindriyani Sarvani Sarvam Brahmopanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuriyam Mama Brahma Nirakarotu Anirakaranamastu Nirakaranam Me Astu Tadatmani Nirate Yopanishatsu Dharma Te Mayi Santo Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Om Vishnunukam Vidyani Pravocham Yappartivani Vimame Tajagum Siyo Askabaya Duttaragum Sadastam Vichakramanaste Torugayo Vishnuratamasi Vishnu Krishnamasi Vishnu Snaptresto Vishnu Surasi Vishnu Druvamasi Vaishnavamasi Vishnavetva Tadasya Priyame Vipato Ashyam Naro Yatra Devayavo Madante Urakramasya Sahi Bandhuritta Vishnu Pade Parame Madhvavutsaha Patad Vishnu Stabate Vidyaya Rugana Bhima Kucharo Girishta Yasyo Rishu Krishu Vikramanesho Adikshiyanti Bhuvanani Vishwa Paro Matraya Tanuva Vrudhana Nate Mahitva Mannashnubhanti Ubete Vidbharajasi Putivya Vishnu Devatvam Trini Pada Vichikrame Vishnur Gopa Adabhyaha
Shanti Shanti.
Vishnu Karmani Pashyatayato Ratani Paspase Indrasya Yujyasaka Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surayah Divi Vachakshuratatam Tadvipraso Vipanyavoja Grubam Sasamindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam Paryaptya Anantarayaya Sarvastomatiratya Uttama Maharbhavati Sarvasyaptyai Sarvasajitye Sarvameva Tena Apnoti Sarvam Jayati Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Guruji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Asin sir. So today, since we're having the Chintana of Krishna. For the Sangeeta Anjali, we're going to have a small song I'm going to sing on Krishna in his young age with, his mother seeing the universe in his mouth. So this is a song, Krishnani Begane Baru. Let's sing that. Krishnani Begane Baro, Krishnani Begane Baro, Begane Baro, Mukhavannu Toro, Begane Baro, Mukhavannu Toro, Krishnani Begane Baro, Kalalandi Geje Nilada Babuli, Kalalandi Geje Nilada Babuli, Nilavarnane Natya Maduta Baro, Nilavarnane Natya Maduta Baro, Krishnani Begane Baro, Taige Bayalli Jagavannu Torida, Baige Bayalli Jagavannu Torida, Jagadodharakanamma Udupi Shri Krishna, Jagadodharakanamma Udupi Shri Krishna, Krishnani Begane Baro, Begane Baro, Mukhavannu Toro, Krishnani Begane Baro. Thank you. So I'll have Dr. Prabhakar, my father, introduce the speaker.
Now that video undi kada, play cheyanడి. Song.
I don't introduce, I'll find the song. Yes.
I'll introduce. So, and now we have before us a great scholar, a scientist, a spiritualist, a philanthropist, etc. And who worked, Dr. Shiva Chaturvedi, he worked as a professor and as dean in the faculty of engineering, that is computers. And having retired, now he left Ohio, Columbus, and now settled down with his son and grandchildren in Los Angeles. But he retired only from service to the university, but never for the service to the God, service to the Sahityam or spiritual or scriptural study. So when I requested him to give a talk on Bhagavatam, he readily agreed. And today we are going to have the Swaroop and Darshan of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is a ocean because it contains 18,000 slokas, very big. But all those slokas are so many episodes included in them. It's hard for us to cover in 1 hour or so. But still, Yatne krute yadina siddhyati kotra doshaha. So Krishna will exempt us and bless us and pardon us. Hey, you have not told completely about me. We have tried to capture him in a possible framework of time because we're all bound by time. So Dr. Shiva Chaturvedi Garu is doing that kind of effort, and we request him to come forward. But the two words that he has complemented the Bhagavatam is Darshana, that is philosophy, tattvas, so many things including that Darshana, vision. The visions provided in that. And Swarupa is Krishna Swarupa, okay. But the Swarupa of the slokas in their number is being abridged. It has come to one sloka, 2,000 and further beyond. So there is a one Eka Sloki Bhagavatam, then 700 slokas, and then 1,000 slokas by Narayaniyam, 700 by Medavaram Subramanya Shastri, Bhagavata Saptasati, and again 15,000 slokas. So options have been given to various bhaktas to be able to pin down for the convenience of the people who are now very busy in hurly-burly way of life. They have no time to turn. Babu, one sloka is good, do it. In the youngster days, I have taught also one slokam to Anjaneya Prasad, so that the entire important work of Krishna is being summarized. So like that. So now we listen to our Shiva Chaturvedi after the song being sung on Vishnu.
Namaskara, my name is Sanviti Amarnath. My father is a student at Nada Veda Adhyayana Kendra. The song I will be singing is Vanajaksha in the Raga Gambhira Natai, Tala Adi, and composer Shri Mysore Sadashivrao. My guru is Srimati Divya Ramesh. Vanajaksha Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Muni Janavana Lola Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Muni Janavana Lola Vanajaksha Sanakadi Vandya Sanakadi Vandya Sanakadi Vandya Sanakadi Vandya Janaka Sutaramana Janaka Sutaramana Pasani Papa Maga Maga Sani Panisa Samaga Gapama Pani Sani Pama Shri Raghuvira Daya Karasarasich Lochana Loka Virajita Sucharita Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Muni Janavana Lola Vanajaksha Sadaya Nrupavara Vibhudahita Murdula Subhachana Dasharata Sutatilaka Niratamu Vanajaksha Sadaya Nrupavara Vibhudahita Murdula Subhachana Dasharata Sutatilaka Niratamu Vanajaksha Ninenam Niti Muni Janavana Lola ఈ జగతిలో పలన్నీ వంటి దైవమునే నెనుగానర ఈ జగతిలో పలన్నీ వంటి దైవమునే నెనుగానర కృపా సముద్ర శ్రీవర శుభకర కవి సదా శివుని ప్రోవర రామ ఈ జగతిలో పలన్నీ వంటి దైవమునే నెనుగానర కృపా సముద్ర శ్రీవర శుభకర కవి సదా శివుని ప్రోవర రామ వనజాక్ష నిన్నే నమ్మితి ముని జనాపన రోల వనజాక్ష.
So,
Sir, please start, sir. Professor Chaturvedi.
Yes, can I share my screen, please?
Yes, you should be able to see it.
Can you see?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we are able to see.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Om Shri Ganeshaye Namo Namaha. Om Bhavam Bhavani Saitam Namami. Om Shri Naradaye Namo Namaha. Om Shri Vyasadevaye Namo Namaha. Om Shri Sukadevaye Namo Namaha. Samast Matra Shakti Devyaye Namo Namaha. Fullendivar Kanti Mindu Badanam Barhavatan Priyam Srivatsankumadar Kaustubadharam Pitambaram Sundaram Gopinam Nainotpalarchitanum Gopasangavratam Govindam Kalubenu Badanaparam Divyanga Bhusam Bhaji. Om Hema Bham Dubujam Neelam Varendadritam Shyam Krod Vilasinim Bhagavatim Sindur Punjojjulam Leelakshim Navyoganam Ismutmukim Bimbadharam Radhika Nityanandmayim Vilas Nilyam Divyang Bhusam Bhaje. Om Namastubdam Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnan Ruddhaya Namah Sankarsanaaya Cha Bande Nanda Vijastriram Padrenum Abhikshasa Yasam Harikatho Digitam Punati Bhumnatrayam. I bow down to all the acharyas, all the Gyani, all the Vigyanis, all the Bhaktas, all the Devarshi, Maharshi, Rajarshi, Sant, Bhakt, Sadhu. I bow down to every one of you. And I bow down to Samasta Charachar Jagat. Srimad Bhagavat Yubyoyam Pratyaksha Krishna Evihi Svikritosmi Mayanathe Muktyartham Bhavasagare. My sincere gratitude to Adharani Professor Prabhakarji and his son Anjane Prasadji and his colleagues for providing me this opportunity to share with all of you my meditation on Bhagavatam. It is Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sakshane Yaidam Krapya Kasmai Vyajachakche Mumukshave Yogindraya Namastasmai Sukaya Brahmarupane Sansara Sarpadastam Yo Vishnuratam Mumuchat. This is the invocation to Bhagavan Vasudev and Yogi Brahma Swaroop Sukadeva ji. My dear listeners, some of you may be wondering about that, am I qualified to talk on Srimad Bhagavatam? I will say one thing, I am a sincere devoted Vidyarthi of entire Vedic wisdom tradition. I do not have a formal education or a guru, but I have more than 80 Shiksha Gurus from various disciplines of knowledge, Jnana Vijnana, that I learn from them and I'm learning from them, from east, from west, from around the world. You can call as my journey as a Tirtha Yatra. It started 42 years ago when I came to America from IIT Kanpur directly, finishing my PhD in mechanical engineering. I was week zero about my own tradition. I was never taught, I was never told, I had never time to study and contemplate and digest. So my journey here in America started with additional time that I had to devote. Started with the Greek tradition. Greek tradition is two fundamentally bifurcated tradition, Plato and Aristotle. Then went through the Western philosophical tradition thought process. And then finally started to look at our own Vedic tradition through English translations by very many scholars, thinkers for last 200 years or so. And then I started slowly with the Swadhyaya, learning to go to the original scriptures in Sanskrit, translated in Hindi as well as in English language. So this is the background I come from. Due to my dilemmas and difficulties are listed here, due to time constraint to pick up what leaf from the ocean of wisdom and Russia, due to complexity and multidimensional difficulties addressing even a few topics, due to language barrier, which is a really great barrier for me and for many others, because the English language is not suitable to relishing, conveying the poetry, chanda, and rasabhava of Bhagavatam. In fact, most of the highly loaded doctrines expressed through Sanskrit language terms remain untranslatable in English language on one-to-one basis. Due to such difficulty, the logical rigorous presentation cannot be done in short time. Due to significant variability in pre-required knowledge and experience, effective communication to satisfy all the audience may be lacking. I will try to make it as easy as possible, and I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. You can call me crazy. You can call me illiterate, you call it, born in a small village near Agra, Uttar Pradesh. What is the Srimad Bhagavatam? We will talk about the structure and architecture of Srimad Bhagavatam in brief. Then we will go to the Bhagavad Darshan. Very, very wonderful, this 113, first Skand, first Adhyay 3, Nigam kalpro galitam phalam sukumukhad mritadavar sanyutam pivatu bhagavatam rasumalayam muhuru rasika bhuvi bhavuka. So really, if we want to comprehend and digest Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to be rasic. That's the final requirement for us to understand, comprehend, and digest, that we have to be rasic. And you say, Rasumalayam, Pivatam Rasumalayam. Very wonderful idea here. Rasumalayam, this is the ocean of rasa. You have to pivot, you have to drink it. And let me share with you some of my experiences and the experiences of others. Why we use the word pivatam rasumalayam? Ras can only be used to drink. And I had a wonderful individual that she used to love nature. She still loves nature. And she will go into the nature all the time and really very much absorbed in the nature. I said, how do you take the nature with you when you move out? And she told me, I drink the natural beauty, the aesthetics. That's the Rasbhav. So there are lots of Bhagavatam, number of commentaries, essays, interpretations, and the translations have been done in almost all Indian languages and also in some foreign languages. It's immense. And these Bhagavatam has been even referred by Param Puj Gaudapadacharya, the great guru of Adi Shankaracharya. And recently I came across, with the blessing of Prabhakarji, the Srimad Bhagavat Saptasati, book of 700 slokas compiled by Brahmarshi Shastri and revised and reprinted by Professor Prabhakar. I think I would encourage every one of you to have a copy, and you can do recitation in 2.5 hours, just like you do recitation of Bhagavad Gita. It's a wonderful contribution. It's a really amazing contribution. How to select, how to pick up out of 18,000 slokas a Saptasati. It's just beautiful. My humble request to be aware of the audience. Misunderstanding, confusion, delusions, conflict, mental frustrations, common due to much of the original Yoga Dharma technical Sanskrit terminology is untranslatable into one-to-one English language. Actually, I have done a lot of work, even fundamentally incorrect. Secondly, unavailability of equivalent cognitive, emotional, conceptual entities, along with the corresponding classification categories, do not exist in any other civilization. Lots of popular books and other media of communication have, including some scholars and saints writing of these saints, they have also contributed to corruption, pollution, and uprooting of Vedic wisdom traditions. It's my bold statement, and I'm willing to accept the challenge with the blessings of my rishis. Let me give you one example how the soul and spirit has been used for Atman and Purusha. how it has been misused, how it has uprooted. Soul and spirit in the Hebrew language called ruh, in Latin anima and spiritus, in Greek psyche and pneuma, in German nous and geist, in Old Testament nepes, appears more than 754 times. In New Testament, soul and spirit, Greek psyche. In Quran is the ruh, and typical contemporary ideas in popular writing, even in academic writing, good souls, beautiful souls, deep souls, large souls, wicked souls, wounded souls, foolish souls, food for souls, physical therapy for souls, etc. Conclusion, the breath of life and or psychic faculty. This is the gist of all these ideas from the Western world, from Abrahamic traditions. They have nothing to do with Atman or Purusha. They have nothing to do at all. And if we are mistranslating Atman Purusha as spirit or soul, we are doing a serious aparad, detrimental effect to uprooting the Vedic wisdom. Let me give you, I'm always trying to be authentic so that somebody say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You are questioning the authority of so many scholars, so many writers. Yes, I am, because I have here some of the references. At death, the soul ceases to think or feel or returns to dust from where it was made. It was made from dust, the soul. Genesis, I have references here. Consequences are uprooting the entire Atman, the entity. Intellectual imperialism of Christianity and Islam religions promoting convergence. Contemporary derivatives of spirituality, I don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely, I have no idea. Because this spirituality concept rooted in serious conflict between individual and church. That's where it comes from. Old spiritual term comes from Latin, spirit. What means to be spiritual but not religious? New terminology had come up. Before 20th century, these are interchangeable words. But now, spiritual is a private realm of thought and experience. Religious is a public realm of membership in religious institutions and participation, formal rituals, and etc. So really, there's nothing even close to our concept and our idea of Atman, Purusha, Paramatman, Bhagavan, Brahm, or Adhyayana, or Sattvic Vritti. Nothing related to those. Bhagavad Katha tradition, there are 3 traditions which are listed in our Puranas and other Smritis. First tradition is this Guru Shishya Parampara. The Bhagavatam was given by Bhagavan Narayan to Brahmaji. From Brahmaji to Narad Muni, from Devarshi Narad to Veda Vyasji, from Veda Vyas to Sukadevji, and Sukadevji came Parikshit and Suta Goswami Ugrasrava. And from Sutaji to Sonak Rishis, and from Sonak Rishis, it is coming to us. The second tradition is Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Sankarsan gave to Rishi Sanat Kumar. And from Rishi Sanat Kumar went to Sankhya Muni. And Sankhya Muni went to Devaguru Brahaspati and Parasarji. And from Parasarji to Maitreji, and from Maitreya Rishi to Mahatma Vidurji. There is 30 tradition mentioned in Skanda Purana. Bhagavan Krishna gave it to Bhagavan Brahma and Bhagavan Vishnu and Bhagavan Rudra. Many of us tend to question the authority of the Puranas and Ityasas. And a lot of our preachers, teachers, and writers do not mention these things, that Puranas and Itihasas very much mentioned and part of the entire Vedic pantheon. And this is called the fifth Veda. And these are some of the typical references starting from Adhyayana. Adhyayana mentions about the Ityas Purana as the Veda. Satpat Brahman, Gopat Brahman, Tetri Aranakya, Brahada Aranakya Upanishad, Chandyoga Upanishad, Bhaj Sanei, Brahmo Nispadat, many Puranas including Bhagavata and Mahabharata. Unfortunately, many distinguished Veda thinkers, Vedantic thinkers and writers tend to ignore the Puranic tradition. And that is, I call to a serious tragedy happened in our Vedic completeness of Vedic traditions. This is the prologue, which tells you what, just like a structure of the Bhagavata is such that starting from the first chapter to the first skanda to 12 skanda, its structure is very much like modern theses are done in various disciplines, sciences and technology, in business, and in humanities, in arts. When you start introduce the topic, then go to the main body of the topic, and the last one you do concluding remarks and concluding thoughts. And this is the same architecture has been followed in the Bhagavatam, just like in the Bhagavad Gita. 18th chapter is a concluding chapter from all that has been said before. Similarly, 12 skanda, the last skanda, is a concluding skanda of all that has been said in the Bhagavatam, in all the Puranas before. Bhagavat presents the notion of ultimate dharma, that is the Bhagavat dharma, that embodies mysterious doctrines of Jnana, Vijnana, Vairagya, and Bhakti, leading to the final, ultimate ras called the Rasomai Bhakti to Bhagavan Krishna. Krishna lives in Bhagavatam, where he records his avatar, his teaching, his achievement, and leelas. A devoted study and practice, one is destined to live not only enlightened life, but also reach the Param Purushart, the Bhakti Rasa. I am distinguishing in between Bhakti Yoga and Bhakti Rasa, because after all the yogas, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they're considered to be primarily the means to achieve the moksha. But here as we go along, we'll talk about the Param Purushart, Bhakti Rasa. This is the first sloka. Janmadyas yaton vayadu. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I will just mention, highlight it. Trisargo mrsa satyam param dhimahi. Satyam param dhimahi, satyam param dhimahi. Whenever the term appears anywhere, it is a extraordinary high dimensions than the cognitive structure. I will not deal with the dhi at this moment in time. Tisargo amrasa. This creation, sustain, and dissolution, this whole process is satyam, not amrasa, not mithya. Very important. Notice here. And the last chapter 13 of Skand 12, again, Satyam Param Dhimahi. It is really reaches the climax of Satyam Param Dhimahi. It starts with Satyam Param Dhimahi, reaches the climax of Satyam Param Dhimahi. Just like Bhagavad Gita, Dharam Kshetre Kurukshetre, start with Dharam Kshetre, and Kuru Neet, and Antim is a Niti. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanudha. Again, is the closing with the all in between is the the wonderful, beautiful world of totality. So you gain experience going through Satyam Param Dhimai, and then you achieve a higher state of Satyam Param Dhimai. So beautiful, so wonderful. Initial 6 questions of Sonika the receiver asked to Sri Sutaji. These are the 6 questions. What is essential to attain moksha in this age of Kali Yuga? What is the one supreme set of knowledge and means to attain that supreme peace? Why and for what purpose the Bhagavan took birth to son of Vasudev and by his wife Devaki? Can you narrate us the whole noble deeds performed by Bhagavan as his Guna avatar, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara? Can you narrate the auspicious Leela avatar of Keshav and Rama of Sri Hari? From where did Dharma gain support when Sri Krishna finishes earthly Leela and assumes its eternal abode? Remember, the scripture, the Vedic wisdom start with the questions and go through the answers. Additional question, go through the answers. Additional question, go through the answer. This is so contemporary structure of the wisdom in other fields as well, my dear devotees. Here is the concluding vision. Savai punsam dharam paro dharmo yato bhaktiridhokshaje. 1 to 6. Initial concluding vision is mentioned in the very first skanda, the 2nd chapter. Devotion, bhakti to Vasudev is param dharma. It quickly generates abhorrence from sensual life and bestows the transcendent knowledge which is beyond the grasp of logical controversy. It also gives an immense ananda. And another one, 1 to 1 is so beautiful, so mysterious. I'm not going to talk about it, but if some other time I have opportunity, I will give the entire talk on this. The knower of the Tattva metaphorically described that non-dual entity, Advayam, as the supreme Tattva. It is variously called Paramatman, Brahman, and Bhagavan. Why do we have to use so many technical terms to address the ultimate mystery and the source origin? I am not going to dwell on it, but as we go along, we will have some. Now, what the Bhagavad Mahapurana, what the Western thinkers and researchers think about the Bhagavad Purana. Bhagavad is the one Puran which is more than any others, giving a stamp of unified composition. It is thus an invaluable historical document. It's not imaginary. It's a historical document. Since it is the only one of this important group of writing that represent the consistent viewpoint of a single group at any given point in the history. Very distinguished writer and thinker and researcher, Dr. Hopkins. Bhagavad is the one Puran which more than any of the others bears the stamp of unified composition and thus to be appreciated as a literary production on account of its language, style, and meter. Another one, Daniel Selden. With the non-dualism in the background, devotion to Bhagavan Krishna in the foreground, the Bhagavad sought to inspire listeners and show him is coherent grandeur of his vision of majestic God, who contained himself, the creation, work of creation within himself, who consented to play among his creatures, all the while existing in timeless, majestic, unsullied by any taint of imperfection. The Bhagavad is a literary masterpiece all those genre is strange to Western taste. Even so many Indians, majority of Indians, leaders, political leaders, research leaders, Vedic scientists, Vedic scholars of Sanskrit language, even they do not want to recognize the wonder and beauty and the rest. So what is this Swaroop? Briefly, I'm going to mention the Swaroop of Bhagavata very, very briefly, because it contained lot of things of the Jeev, Jagat, and Jagannath in totality. In Purana, just like Matsya Purana, Vishnu Purana, other Purana, the 5 characteristics are mentioned. The Puranas depend on these 5 characteristics: creation, recreation, genealogy of the gods, the Manu periods of time, and histories of dynasties. Srimad Bhagavat is giving us based on 10 characteristics, defines the structure in 10 characteristics: creation, sarga, visarga, sthan, poshan, buti, manvantar, isanukatha, nirodha, liberation, and support. As Ashraya means that from which creation I call is emanation, and dissolution, pralaya, are definitely known to emerge, is the resort which is called the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Self. That's the Bhagavat. The language, poetry, Sanskrit language, poetry, and some prose. Grammar, many slokas have pre-Pani grammar. Poetic chandas, my goodness, is amazing. The 32 types of chandas have been used. Primary major chanda is Anushtup chand. And there are few rare ones not found in the Sanskrit literature at all. Very reality, very uniqueness. Primary rasas, out of all 9 rasas, there are primary rasas, additional rasas are Santaras, Sringaras, and Bhaktiras. Vidya, Adi Devik, Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, and its own Sankhya Darshan. When people, I have listened to many talks, I have gone through many texts. When people talk about the Sankhya Darshan, they all only talk about the Sankhyakarika of Ishvara Krishna. That's the text. They never include and talk about the Sankhya Darshan given by Bhagavan Kapil Dev to Dehuti in 3rd Skandha, which I believe is more consistent, more holistic, more scientific than others talked about. They have been ignored. This Sankhya Darshan has been ignored by and large. It also includes the sciences, humanities, and arts. It includes cosmology, cosmogony, rivers, mountains, forests, animals, languages. Oh my goodness, you talk about. Dharma Kshetra, multidimensional, multi-level, multi-valued, culminating into the supreme dharma higher than moksha. This may be eye-opening to the audience, current and future, that it talks about a state beyond moksha. Because when we talk about the Purushārtha, dharma, artha, kam, moksha, we stop there. In normal talks by Vedantis, by other scholars, they will simply, there are 4 Purushārtha. They do not include the Param Purushārtha as the Bhakti Ras, supreme dharma. Note, it is simply most difficult, complex, with a lot of apparent paradoxes, full of mystery. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Skandha, there are 12 cantos, 335 adhyayas, 18,000 slokas. The largest canto is the 10th one, where the Krishna Lila is sung, 90 chapters. There are 140 prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. Gita, these are the primary Gitas: Kapil Gita, Narad Gita, Hams Gita, Bhikshu Gita, Uddhav Gita. Avatar, descent or manifestation of divine personality. It's a particular emanent from the supreme transcendental deity in the phenomenal world. The list are mentioned in 6 places: 22 avatars, 24 avatars, 7 avatars, 8 avatars, 14 avatars, and 21 avatars in different.
అది తీసుకోవాలి ఆ కావ్యం అడుగు.
So no separate mention of 10 manifestation, but already included in the above list. After listing all these avatars, the Sukdev Goswami declares, Krishna is the Bhagavan Swayam. I concur with Dr. Bhattacharya's assessment, very renowned thinker and saying the widest conception of incarnation envisaged by the Bhagavad here apparently embraces all expression of Bhagavan, immanent and transcendent, sentient, insentient, all integrated by love, divine sport, Leela, into the grand unity of Bhagavan. There are many other references by many researchers. Let's see what Krishna says in Bhagavatam. Someone in the past might have been able to count the particles of dust on the earth through many lives, but one could never count my qualities, actions, and births. Bhagavan Vishnu told to Brahma in 2nd canto, in the beginning, before the creation, I alone was in existence. There was nothing neither Sat or Asat, nor their cause. After the creation of the universe, what exists is I am the universe, what remains is me. Please note, qualities, action, names, and words of Krishna. Savishesh Brahman. Keep in mind, please. There are Geets, 11 Geets, Venu Geet, Pranay Geet, Gopi Geet. Gopi Geet is most famous, most wonderful. This is the heart of entire Bhagavatam. Yugal Geet, Brahmar Geet. There are Panchadhyayi, Bhakti Panchadhyayi, Bal Pantrajai, Adhyatmi Panchadhyayi, Gyan Panchadhyayi, Cosmology Panchadhyayi, Dharma Panchadhyayi, and Ras Panchadhyayi, where the Ras Leela is included. And there are the yogic powers are included. Many times we are bewildered by and give designation to Bhagavan for anybody on this earth who comes in with some kind of power. There are many fake gurus who exhibit some kind of fake powers. Those who can exhibit all these powers simultaneously and go beyond them, then I will consider, okay, this one is really Bhagavan avatar. Anima, Mahima, Laghima, Prapti, Prakam, Vasita, Isita, Kang Vasit, capacity to overcome all this, and there are 18 such. Capacity to see far distances, hear sounds from far distances. Capacity to reach where mind goes. Capacity to create another body form, enter into other living bodies. To leave body at will, to be gods and goddesses and other living divine beings. To know the past, future events. To restrain inherent power of sun, Agni, water, wind. And not to get defeated by it. These are the 18 siddhiyas, yogic siddhiyas. The Bhagavat Rasik do not even want these siddhiyas. They want the Bhagavan himself. Then there are four types of pralaya, dissolution. Nitya, Naimityak, Prakrit, Atyantik. final. And look at these two. I have given here the expansion of the Nitya delusion. One is led to infer from the observation of constant change in flowing stream or burning flame, and that bodies are being subjected to the flow of time stream, also passing through births and deaths every moment. Continuous process, stars or heaven, continuous process of decay and renewal going on in the body and by action of time, which is the manifestation of divine without beginning or end. Kala is itself is divine. And my dear friends, I'm not going to elaborate on this because it requires a separate lecture. The above doctrines have been vindicated by biological sciences. As soon as the birth of the cell takes place, it includes the death. So sometime we will talk about the mrityu, death of the cell. I will leave this. I have given you this into the prologue. And the kind of muktis, people are talking about the moksha, only one type of moksha. Here, Salok, Sarsti, Samit, Swaroop, and Ekat. Now, Bhagavata 11:14 says, even the above state being are not desirable for those in the highest state of bhakti yoga. As Krishna says, he who has been devoted to me no more desires the position of highest, the realm of Indra, power of the universe, rulers of the underworld, yogic powers, the state of not being reborn, nothing apart from me. So highest state beyond and ever transcending states of moksha is the non-separability and non-duality of Bhakti Bhagavan. Example, doctrine of supreme goal for bhaktas such as Alvars. Alvars were the 18th, 19th century. Oh my goodness, the fountainhead of bhakti tradition in Tamil Nadu, which influenced later acharyas including Ramanujacharya. Nammalvar looks upon expressly Keval as an inferior state of liberation. Keval, which is the moksha of the Gyanis, Gyan Yogis, is an inferior state of liberation because it falls short of rasomay experience of Bhagavan. More importantly, Alvars identifies himself with the Gopi of Vrindavan, enjoys the rasananda of Raseshwar Krishna, with contemplating on the experience that Gopi has with Krishna. They were the Jnani Bhakta poets, 9 to 12 from Tamil Nadu around 8th century. Group included all the four varnas. And they wrote actually the Nammalvar compiled and created what he called the Shastra called Divya Prabandham, which is also known as the Tamil Veda. These are the poetic Jnani Bhakta poets. Look at the Andal cries. She's called the Mirabai of South. She's also one of the Alvars. Well, I have to read through. Oh, this is so beautiful, so wonderful, so rasomay. While I am pinning with grief, Lord Krishna has not inquired if I am still alive or dead. He has taken away everything that belonged to me, has been tormenting this woman who loves him. If I ever meet Krishna, I would pluck my breast along with the roots and hurl the same at his chest. Can you believe that? So that I could overcome my grief, I can tear down my chest and throw on the Krishna's face. Breast, I'm sorry. The above cry is the summit of Viraya Bhav separation of the transcendental prem ras or bhakti yoga. This is the deepest high state of gopi bhava beyond ever the state of Kaivalya moksha. Bhagavan himself says, neither Sankhya, nor yoga, nor dharma, nor the study of Veda, nor austerity, nor renunciation leads to a person to me as does the intense devotion. Bhagavat 11:14, 11 is where he talks to, this is called the Uddhava Gita, giving upadesh to Uddhavji. Look at the another one, Prem Ras of Mahabhava Mirabai. Murli sounds on the banks of Jamna. Murli snatches away my mind. My senses cut loose from their moorings. Dark waters, dark garment, dark Lord. I listen close to the sounds of Murali, and my body withers away. Lost thoughts, lost even power to think. Mira's Lord, clever mountain, lifter, Giri. गिरिधर गोपाल मेरे तो गिरिधर गोपाल दू सर्व न कोई. Kavi Jayadev is singing Geet Govindam, one of the prominent from Kavya, Sanskrit Kavya, from full of different kind of chandas and meters and music. Cool moon rays scorch him, threatening death. Love's arrow falls, and he laments his weakness. Wildflower garlanded Krishna suffers in your desertion. Friend, poet Jayadev sings to describe Krishna's desolation. Hari will rise to favor you. Wildflower garland Krishna suffers in your desertion, friend. So it means Krishna also suffers from separation. Divine avatars. There are 5 types of avatars which are discussed in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. Guna avatar, cosmic manifestation, where the Bhagavan accepts 3 forms of creation, sustenance, dissolution as the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But there is a warning here, which many of the Saivites and Vaishnava do not want to hear. O Brahman, he who sees no difference between 3 of us, who are essentially one, and the selves of all beings attain peace. This is the Bhagavat, 4th skand. Second is the Bihu avatar, presiding manifestation, Vasudeva, Sankarsan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Leela avatar, divine play manifestation, main purpose, protection of the universe and creature, and giving the divine ras to the Brajavasi. Bhakta Prahlad says in the 7th canto, in this way Narsingadev protect the world and kill the people's enemy through manifestation of human being, beast, sages, gods, and fish. Also in defense of devotees to fulfill their wishes to serve and participate in the Leela. Also to show human beings the path to achieve final liberation. Then we have what we call Archa avatar, manifested in Bhagavan in the form of icons, Vigraha or Murtis, in order to enable the devotees to offer him worship and meditate on him. Supreme being, and then Antaryami avatar. Supreme being is immanent, resides in each and every living entity in the universe. And Antakaran, also inside one heart, Antaryami. Heart has a very significant role play. The manas and heart have 2 different significantly important roles to play. I don't have time today to talk about, some future I will talk about. The heart is where the Paramatma Atma resides. Heart is where he resides. Heart where the dhyana resides. Heart where the manifestation takes place. Oh my goodness. Please note, the Alvars have made a distinct contribution to understanding of the doctrine of avatar. There are several Vedic passages which speak of few avatars in Vedas, such as Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Brahat, Barha avatar, Trivikram avatar, Vaman avatar. Pancharath and Vekhanis Agamas have also accorded greater significance to avatar. Then let's move on. Who's this Krishna? Anjali ji, please just stop me whenever you think. Give me 5 minutes time, and then stop me whenever you think you are exhausted.
Yeah, you have now 10 minutes, sir.
Only 10 minutes? No, I started actually, at 50s, your time at 8:50 or so.
My
So
watch.
I have 20 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank
So
you, sir.
nice.
Krishna, I'm giving you something very, very, very unique, interesting. Krishna had two primary Leela Swaroops, Vaibhav Swaroop and Divyati Dibya Madhur Swaroop. And these are the classification. Madhur Swaroop is the Krishna Swaroop, Nikunja Leela Swaroop, Radha Krishna and 8 Sakhis, Abhyakt in Bhagavat. This is not discussed in Bhagavat. This is not narrated in Bhagavatam. Vrindavan Leela, including Ras Leela Swaroop, this is in Bhagavatam. Braj Leela Swaroop, these are the 3 Madhur Swaroop. Then 3 are the Vaibhav Swaroop, where Krishna does the Leela as Bhagavan Vishnu. That's why the Krishna and Vishnu are sometimes confused. Who is who? Krishna is performing his Leela at Vishnu in Mathura Leela, in Dwarka Leela, in Mahabharat Leela. So these are the Swaroops. If focusing only one or the other, there has been confusion in the academic circle that the Krishna of Mahabharata is different than the Krishna of Bhagavatam. This is all based on what he called the deep, dark ignorance. Here is the Dharam Kshetre, Kurukshetre. That's the one Krishna, Mahabharat Krishna. Here is the Krishna Vaibhav Swaroop. I will come to that verse here later on. Here the Vrindavan Dham, where he played his Madhur Leela. Here is the Vrindavan Leela with the gopis and gwalas. Here is the Nikunja Leela. Who is Krishna? Rasa Brahman. Divine Krishna is Radha and Radha Krishna. 2 personalities for the Vyati Dibya Ras to manifest. And you cannot separate them out. This is beyond and above Brahmanand. See, there is a Vishyanand, there is Brahmanand, and this is the Rasanand. That's the distinction. Where in the Rasanand, Brahmanand, and Vishyanand already melts down and gets transformed into Compare this representation with the Ardhanarishwar. Ardhanarishwar is 2 separate. Here they cannot be separated. Here is the Uddhav and Gopis when Krishna left the Braj and went to perform the Mathura Leela. Yaha is the Brahman as the source and foundation of existence, the ultimate reality. That's the question. Here, look at the Bhagavad Gita. Who serves me with unswerving devotion, he goes beyond the gunas, is fitted to become Brahman. Brahma bhuvaya kalpate. And then he says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amartya sabhyasya cha sasvatasya cha dharmasya sukaisai kantikasya cha. I am the abode and source of Brahman. This paradox I'm not going to discuss today, but simply give you that the Krishna Swaroop contains the Brahma Swaroop. Primary 2 meanings of the Brahma: to grow, to swell, to pervade all dimensions of existence, and causing to grave, to slow, to persuade. According to Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra or Badrayan, the term Brahman denotes a reality which is the primary cause of Jagat is the supreme being qualified with attributes. That's the Brahma Sutra, Sabhishesha. And I have identified so many Brahman. Here is a big list. Abhyay Brahman, Sagut Brahman, Nirgut Brahman, Akshar Brahman, Char Brahman, Murta Brahman, Amurta Brahman, Marta Brahman, Amrata Brahman, Sthit Brahman, Dynamic Brahman, Mahat Brahman, Abhyakt Brahman, Vyakt Brahman, Param Brahman, Sabda Brahman, Nada Brahman, and I have given another name, the Madhur Ras Brahman, which is Bhagavan. And I have also coined a new term. I have coined a new term called Vikiran Brahman. To all kinds of basic radiation spectrum pervading millions of galaxies, including our own, also from Suryadeva. So there's a new Brahman called the Vikiran Brahman. I have given a new name, Udbhav of a new Brahman called the Vikiran Brahman. Answer is so beautiful. Is Jagat Mithya, Asatyam Apratishtam Te Jagadahur Nishra, Aparaspar Sambhutam, Kamannat Katmam Hetukam. They say the world is unreal. And also in the Bhagavatam, we start Trisargo Amrsa, Amrsa. It's a very, very complex, complicated, and controversial issues. In fact, if you look at the Adi Shankaracharya translation of this 16.8, he says exactly what is given here. He really, now there's another question which is asked by the Rig Veda 10.1 to 29.7. Who really knows, who can here say when was born, where creation came, and all that? And the Krishna answered that question. Name vidu surgana prabhuvana maharsaya ahmadihi devana maharshi ramchya. Krishna is sat asat, neither sat or asat. He is beyond sat asat and foundation of all. All these paradoxes must be together. All these words, linguistic terms must be together to understand what the Krishna is. His Krishna is Suras, Asuras, and all divine beings, yet neither of them. Perfect meditation and revelation of Bhagavan, Supreme Deity. Krishna is Brahman of Upanishad, Chit of highest content, bliss, Satchanand. He is also foundation, abode of Brahman. Krishna is the also ocean of Raseshwar and Ras Brahman. Let me just glance over major doctrines of Vedanta Darshan. These are the Vedanta Darshan rest on these 5 basic doctrines: nature of Brahman, nature of Jiva, nature of Jagat, nature of Sadhana, nature of Param Purushar. Bhagavad Darshan, if you carefully digest the Bhagavad Darshan, it is really difference in identity form of non-dualism, ground on the deepest realized experience of Nirguna Bhakti. Bhagavan, by his own power, Yoga Maya, create distinction within himself. They derive from the reality of Godhead without diminishing, affecting his reality. Krishna is Achyut. 5 theological characteristics. World which is real has its origin Brahman or Bhagavan, who is both efficient and material cause. Individual Jivatma, although distinct, ultimately identified with Brahman, Bhagavan or Purushottam. Bondage and all that, Bhagavan is the ultimate reality, personal. And I'm not going to go through here. I will give you something very important. Bhakti Ras.
Can we unmute? Can we mute one of these persons? I mean, whosoever is this Redmi phone.
Let me typical example of direct vision experience. So I'm giving you 2 examples, very, very beautiful, very wonderful, very unique. And these examples you will not find normally by contemporary Vedantis ever mentioning about these. The Madhusudan sudden divine experience, the great sannyas and great upholder of Adhyayana theology of Adi Shankara, he was writing a grantha called Adhyayana Siddhi, a high watermark in logical, philosophical sophistication, scholarship in Vedantic tradition. And in that particular grantha, he was focusing on chapter called Nirakarvad, where he say ultimate absence of any akar or form to Brahman. And at the end of this Nirakarvad, a sudden, most powerful visual experience happened with the last stanza of this Nirakarvad called, I do not know any other ultimate supreme tattva than Krishna. His palm is adorned by flute. He's all black, bluish like a fresh cloud. He wears the golden pitambar silk. His upper and lower lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. His face is charming and sweet like full disk of moon. His eyes are very lotus. This vision is highly concrete and transformative to make him a great bhakta of Rasheshwar Krishna. And then he wrote what he called the Bhakti Rasayan. Then he wrote Bhakti Rasayan. Very important. Bansi Vibhushat Karan Navani Radhavat. Pitambara Barone Bimba Falodharo Stat. Pune in the Sundar Mukha Darvinda Netrat. Krishnat Param Kimavi Tattvam Nahajane. This is the Prem Sarovar in Vrindavan. And keep that in mind. There are protruding platform in this Sarovar. And in the summertime and other times, the water is really gets very dirty. And what happened to David Haberman? Vision of Radha Krishna in Brijabhumi. This is the summer of 1993. And this is the reference. You should read this book, Journey Through 12 Forests, Encounter with Krishna. And look at the vision. I had to read the whole thing in order to make sense. Suddenly, a new world became visible. I was looking at the dense forest of flowering trees, in which stood a woman and a man. She had a golden complexion, was dressed in a blue sari. He was of dark color and wore a yellow dhoti. She had flowers braided into her long hair. He wore a garland of flowers around his neck and had a peacock feather stuck in his hair. Slowly, he reached out a vulnerable hand and touched her. She surrendered to his advance. The two embraced, and suddenly the image was gone. Once again, I was looking at the surface of the pond. And he said, I was shaken and sat on the platform. This is the Prem Sarovar during the summer, noontime. He had the vision of Radha Krishna. That tells us the stories and legends that even today, I have several of those experiences, and also friends. He became a good friend of mine. And this transforms Professor, head of Department of Religion, Indian University, Bloomington. He transformed his life. He sings bhajans that you will not be able to distinguish whether the American is singing or Indian is singing. Adi Sankaracharya, what the Adi Sankaracharya said, Prabodh Sudhakar. Modern Vedantis, they do not mention about Prabodh Sudhakar because that will collapse their idea of Vedanta. And this is from the 242. I have several of those. He who had sown innumerable Brahmans, universes to Brahma, and each of them separate, wondrous Brahma, with Gopas with their calves, and Vishnu in each of the Brahman, whose Charanlodak, goddess Ganga flowing from his lotus feet, sanctify Bhagavan Shiva. That Krishna is uniquely different from Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, with his own transcendental Satchit Anandamayi divine effulgence. Actually, Adi Sankaracharya and Prabodh Sudhakar says that I worship Krishna as my mother because I'm born in the moon nakshatra, and he wants Krishna to take care of her son. That's what they. Aho Bhagavan Brahma proclaims. How fortunate are Nanda and other inhabitants of Braj, whose well-wisher happens to Brahman supreme, the complete, the full, the embodiment of Paramanand or bliss. And Krishna in own message to gopis through Uddhav says, I create, sustain and dissolve everything within myself, out of myself, by my inherent power, Yoga Maya. All these effects in the form of material elements, sense powers, gunas are being manifestation of mind in the creative process. This is the foundational, most wonderful statement by Krishna, telling us that he is the totality. Srimad Bhagavat must be included within the force of Vedanta Shastra. In fact, this is the crowning achievement as Shruti, the ultimate authority. I have already talked about. And Krishna says, "Oh Uddhav, neither Brahma, who is my own creation, nor Shiva, nor Balram, nor Lakshmi, nor even my own self is so dear to me as that the devotees like you. To sanctify myself with the dust of his feet, I constantly follow the footstep of a devotee." Can you believe that? The Bhagavan is saying to Bhakta, I follow your footsteps, so the dust from your feet come on my head and I become Kritikrit. No parallel anywhere in Hindu and non-Hindu worldly tradition is this found between Bhakta and Bhagavan. So, Falasruti, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavat is quintessence of Veda. Bhagavat is the greatest among the books. Bhave bhave ya bhakti padyostav jayate tatha kurusu devese nathastam no yatah prabhu nam sankirtan yasya sarpa pranashanam pranamo dukkusam nastam namami harim param nam sankirtan namaive kevalam. So Bhagavat Puranam Adbhut. It has knowledge of renunciation, devotion, wisdom, jnana, vigyan, bhakti, vairag, samanvitam. Jeev in Jagat and Jagannath ka samagra Swaroop is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is how the Bhagavatam ends. And this is what my humble request to all of you. My last with my folded hands and Charnavandan to all of you, all the audience. I will request you to finally go at least with one mantra. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate. Now, I am asking for dakshina from all of you. And I need two kinds of dakshina. One is for your forgiveness. Please, I'm Kshama Prarthi. Please forgive me for my offenses. Second one, please give me your blessing. I need blessing. I need your blessing. I need your blessing. Kyunki I cannot. I don't have any gunas. Kaise manaun piyava. गुरु मेरे कहू नहीं कैसे मनाऊं पियवा. How can I offer to my Param Guru, Diksha Guru, Param Bhagavan Krishna, because I don't have any gunas, so I need your blessing. Thank you, my gratitude, and I'm Sevak of Vedic Rishi, Satyameva Jayate, Om Shanti, 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 Harihi Om. Thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much.
So wonderful. So observing Krishna himself has come here to all the world through and telling all about that. And your net is so wide that it is able to catch so many doctrines and ideas from Bhagavatam, while Bhagavatam being an ocean by itself. So your net is very big. And within the short time, you have brought so many things into the purview. And it is only Krishna, Bhagavan speaking, telling about himself what people ordinarily should know. Because you have dived deep into the study and Bhagavatam and covered from cover to cover and so many Gitas and all that. Very much thankful to you, sir. You can keep on talking because you are the, I think, representative to spread the Krishna Upadesha and Krishna's culture and Krishna's directives to all people in the present day. I'm very much thankful for you. I have no words to speak. We are spellbound. And next, I think we have got Dr. N.C.B. Nath, who is also a great scholar. Nathji, are you there? And he has made good studies upon, he is there, on Bhagavatam, and he has given us an idea that there are so many Sanshipta Bhagavatas, and he has made some ideas. And he is a PhD in management studies in science in 1952 from Madras University. And he's a nonagenarian now, but still he's working like a rishi, and we'll listen to his comments and additions to the talk on Bhagavatam, Krishna, Swaroop, and Darshan. Yes, sir. Nath.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Can I speak, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhakar Garu. I think after listening to an excellent presentation by Chaturvedi ji, what I'm going to say is at a different level, different concerns for Mamukshus. Firstly, we've got a tradition of very complex, large texts. And we also found a way, how do we deal with large texts? One need not go through 14,000 verses of Bhagavata to reach God. For example, we got a single syllable Om, which is a signifier of Brahman. We got a single word Ram, which represents 1,000 names of Vishnu. We got a single verse which summarizes the large text, including 100,000 verses of Bhagavata, Mahabharata. Then you got various kinds of what's called abbreviations from 2 to about 800 verses summarizations. The issue I'm raising is that for an ordinary person who can't read 14,000 verses of Mahabharata, Bhagavata, what are the options? I think our culture provides them. They are the list of abbreviations or sanshiptas which are available to us. I think I have found about 9 sanshiptas which are available to readers of Bhagavata. The first is an Ekashloki Bhagavata. One verse which describes Bhagavata in exactly the same way as Chaturvedi ji has explained. It is Krishna Leela, nothing more. The 14,000 verses, the complexity is summarized into one verse. God knows by whom, I don't know. But it describes the Krishna Leela, a wonderful way of remembering a big text, a complex text. Then there is, in Bhagavata itself, there's a Chatusloki. Chatusloki is a 4-verse summarization of the entire philosophy of Bhagavata. This is 4 verses which are uttered by Bhagavan to Brahman. A fantastic summarization of 14,000 verses. And this Chatusloki is not a description of events. It's an explanation of philosophy. Now, this is very popular among the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. There are many texts. It's a small abbreviation with large explanations. Then we got what's called smaller kind of abridgments of 20, 25, 30, whatever it is. Now, you come to a larger kind of observations, you've got 3 of them. The most popular is Narayanayam, which is a 1034 verse abbreviation of Bhagavata. It's not a selection of verses. It is Bhattadripa's own poetry. Beautiful verses which are available for Parayana, for understanding, for whatever purpose you want to use it for. For 500 years, it has become the only what's called abridgments of Bhagavata as far as we are concerned. Recently, I think two abbreviations have come up. One is what you mentioned, sir, about Shastri Garu, Saptasati, 720 verses. That was published in 1975, but I think it was revised about 2 years ago. It was lost in the what's called the Telugu script, but many people may not know. Then there is another one which has come out by what's called Gupta and Valpe, which is readings of Bhagavata Purana, which has come out in 2017. Really today, there are two reasonably large abbreviations which are available. They are less known, less discussed. I will very briefly mention what they mean, what they intend, and how they compare with that. So that I want to, what's called draw lessons for how do you summarize? How do you summarize large texts? I understand that one of our friends, Gareji, is trying to summarize Shiva Purana. Now, to come back to what's called the summarization of Shastri Garu, is it traditional kind of summarization? And surprisingly, sir, he starts his summarization with the first chapter and ends with the last chapter, the way we have talked about the first and the 12th chapters, first and the 12th cantos, 12, 13, 1, 1. This is the what's called paridhi. It's the circumference in which the whole discussion is taken place. Now, Shastri Garu has traded width for depth. He has picked up lot of 1, 2, 3, 4 verses in 117 chapters. Gupta and Vajpayee have picked up 57 chapters, but they have increased the depth. And what they have done is they have identified blocks of text, so that the blocks of text give you the meaning and, more important, the feel of the original text. So in an abbreviation, it's not enough to say what he said. It's what's the feel of the text. For example, if you read, you talked about what's called Brahmara Gita. He has summarized Brahmara Gitas in whatever way he could. And if you read Brahmara Gita, that summarization will tell you a lot more about Gopika Bhakti. Yeah. Madhura Bhakti, which is, you call it bridal mysticism. Now, I think I have written a very detailed paper on abbreviations, and I'm sending it to Prabhakarji. Maybe he will share it with whoever is interested.
Perfect, now, perfect.
If this is our experience, I would say, what are the lessons we learn for abbreviation of complex, difficult texts? I divide them into two parts. You've got itihasas, like Ramayana, where the summary is provided in the first canto itself, Sanchita Ramayana of 100 verses. What happens is foretold. But when you come to Puranas, you are in a bit of a trouble, because Puranas are encyclopedias. How do you summarize an encyclopedia? All of it? Will you give a table of contents? Will it tell you what it contains? Every Purana has got a table of contents. Okay. For example, so is Bhagavata. Bhagavata in the 12th chapter has given a summary of what has gone before it. It's not in the table of contents is beginning at the end. Now, the point of view I would like to share is, if you want to summarize complex Puranas, maybe you must choose a focus. If you repeat summaries, what is the point? You can as well read the summary chapter in the Purana. Now, these are the options, and I'm not saying this is a final word. There is a need for sanchiptas because we do not, most of us like me, do not have the capability of reading big text and understanding it. Then how do you bring this, what's called the wonderful complex text to less learned person who is really the bhakta? He doesn't need intellectual understanding. He needs faith. Now, if this is what we are looking for, I want to raise a very controversial point, which I hope Prabhakar Sahib won't disagree with me. This is the concept of vernacularization. I think, sir, you quoted Nalayaram. I am a Vaishnava. And I contribute to the concept of what's called Ubhaya Vedanta. We call ourselves Ubhaya Vedanta, where the Sanskrit Vedas are equated to Nalayaram, Divya Prabandha, as you quoted extensively from. Now, the concept of what is called bringing the local languages as a medium of communicating complex thoughts has been in this country for some time. It's not only here, it is there in almost all the denominations. And you will know the kind of problems which have got with the Protestant, Catholic, liturgy, translation problems. Leave that alone. We are not interested in that. My suggestion is very simple. As a Telugu speaking person, we have got a wonderful transcreation of Bhagavatam by Botana. It has got 8,000 verses compared to 14,000 verses. It's in beautiful Telugu, and which is taught to every student in Telugu speaking areas. I have learned as a student, which is about 92 years ago. And, and I'm sure somebody is learning even today. Now, the suggestion I make is, why don't you do say abridgment, Sanchipta of Potana? If you don't want to do all of it, I would recommend, please do a Sanchipta of the Stutis. A Stuti is what's called Sayankvanan of Bhakti. It is Kirtana. And to just mention only two Stutis in the first canto, Kunti and Bhishma. Wonderful Stutis.
Beautiful.
And read them. And when I was a student, we used in the prayer classes, we used to repeat those verses. Somebody would repeat, we would need to listen. And that was Bhagavata for us. I'm saying there is Bhagavata for the scholar. There is Bhagavata for the believer. There is a Bhagavata for this person who is searching, who is looking for things. Sanchipta is a halfway house. There's a need for Sanchiptas. There's a need to discuss both Shastri Garu's 700 and Gupta Valpe to 1500. I'm not saying the last word. They've come into being in the last 2 years. Before that, they were not there. Now, I would recommend that scholars like you, please look at the concept of Sanchipta of complex texts. And our ancients have been very, very, what's called practical. They said, repeat Om. No difficulty. Can you think of a better way of thinking of God than that? That is the beauty of what's called a civilization, which can work at the levels of a sound, many sounds, complexity, and a whole description of a wonderful world, not here, thereafter, and in many worlds. And I very briefly are mentioning the concept of Sanchipta in complex texts. The detailed paper I sent, it's a 50-page paper. I think he might like to look at it and pass it on. Thank you very much, sir. I enjoyed listening to you. And what I really admired is you started with the first chapter, first canto, last chapter, last canto, and between them you wove the story. Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I need your blessing. Thank you so much. I offer my Charan Vandan to you. Thank you so much.
So it's a wonderful session. And so now, see, Satyam Param Dhimahi. What is that Satyam Param? Is Omkara, according to is Omkara. Because ultimately, Omkaropasana and Omkaropasana Chesi, Shankara Narayan Velisiri. Chagaraja says in one of his Kirtanas, only through Omkaropasana, Shankara and Narayana came back into existence. So that's very nice summarizing. And actually, what Dr. Chaturvedi has done is again a part of summarizing the whole content of Bhagavatam and with all emotions filled in that and Gita. That's all Gita only. And so Krishna Bhagavan is highly pleased, as we can see, that yatra yatra raghunatha kirtanam tatra tatra krutamastaka anjali is the bhakta Anjaneya or anybody like that, like him. So wonderful. Saraswati, are you there, Amma, to offer? Saraswati, she is responsible to bring the Bhagavata Saptasiti of my Guru, Medavaram Subramanya Shastri, which contains 720 slokas, which is published, and many people have taken. And for example, a person from Udupi came and from Udupi temple, Krishna temple, looking at the book said, it should be kept for Parayanam every Ekadasi in the temple, like that. So it is such a beautiful work that my Guru has done it. And again, it has come to limelight and it should come. So I'm very thankful. So Saraswati is there. I don't know whether she is responsible to sponsor the whole publication and do all the good work in that, getting it printed and all that. And also making that Telugu character, Telugu script transcribed into Devanagari. So good. And so I will be thankful to all the senior scholars who are present here and who are, though not visible here as participants, but must be listeners. And this is going to be, and the book is also available in India. And this is the book which he presented, and copies are available. Like, I have to send one hard copy to Shiva Chaturvedi also sometime. So it will take place. And I think with these words, we end up the, any questions anybody wants to pose for a while? There is no question for Krishna. Actually, any question?
Kalyam sir. Sir. Professor Prabhakar sir Sadar.
Yeah, please.
Is Hindi allowed, sir?
Pardon?
Is Hindi language allowed?
Okay, Lord. You can ask.
Too much, thank you, sir. मैं सर संस्कृत और फिलॉसफी का स्कॉलर हूँ, लेकिन अंग्रेजी मुझे बहुत कम ही आती है, इंटर तक ही पढ़ा हूँ, तो इसलिए, लेकिन सर का आशीर्वाद चूंकि मिलना था, इसलिए मैं जुड़ा था, जो थोड़ा लेट जुड़ा जो है, तो मैं सर विशेष रूप से प्रोफेसर चतुर्वेदी सर के चरणों में विशेष सर जो है निवेदन करूंगा, जो विकिरण ब्रह्म का जो नया जो टर्म कॉइन किया है, ये कुछ मुझे ज्यादा अच्छा लग रहा है जो है, और सर ने पूरा लीला और भक्ति और मुक्ति और अवतार और कंक्लूजन में भज गोविंदम, तो मुझे लगता है कि सर ने बातें बड़ी सांगोपांग तरीके से पूरी तरह से, और फिर बादरायण से और गीता से भी आकर के सारी चीजें जो इकट्ठी कर दिया गुरुदेव ने। मेरी एक जिज्ञासा है, मैं सर से अक्सर बातचीत करता रहता हूँ फोन पर भी जो है, आखिर एक ऐसा कौन सा कार्य किया जाए, या कौन सा ऐसा जो है परम कर्तव्य हो, परम भाव हो, जिससे ब्रजेश नंदन जो है अंतःकरण में उतर जाए। जो मैं इतने प्रणाम करके जानना चाहूंगा कि आखिर ब्रजेश नंदन हृदय में उतर जाएं, इसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए? प्रणाम सादर गुरु जी।
बहुत अद्भुत प्रश्न है, और ये बहुत कठिन प्रश्न है। It's a difficult question. It's a wonderful question. It's a resume question. there are means given in the Bhagavatam. There are means given in Bhagavatam, different yogas are given to Bhagavatam, how you can reach the Rasabha. And I think I have not mentioned here and talked about the Braj Rasik. ब्रज रसिक के बारे में मैंने कुछ नहीं कहा
जी।
ऐसे में तो क्या है, जहां भगवत गीता एंड होती है, सर्वधर्मान परित्यज्य मामेकम शरणं व्रज, दैट्स द बिगिनिंग ऑफ 10th canto ऑफ भागवतम। जहां भागवतम महारास लीला पे समाप्त हो जाती है, अहेतु की भक्ति पर समाप्त हो जाती है, वहां बिगिनिंग ऑफ द ब्रज रस भक्ति। And every, I mentioned about 5, 6, Swaroop of Bhagavan. In each Swaroop, the language changes. And eventually, Bhakti Rasa language becomes like you are talking to me. Na ye chand hoga, na tare rahenge, magar hum hamesha tumhare rahenge. Do you see? So this is how you can look at, before you go and find out what the best method for you. Try to examine yourself by yourself for yourself. And I can discuss with you, how do you find out what really your deepest psychic orientation is. Based on that orientation, you can reach the Rasabha. Because everyone is very unique. Everyone has different kind of deep psychic orientation. Antahakaran. So everyone will require a different approach to reach the Rasabha. That's what I can do. I can tell you in short. Thank you so much. You are so kind. I need.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So thanking everyone, because NCB Nath Garu, he is also a great researcher, especially after, he said when he turned 80, he has started studying Sukla Veda, and right from that time, he has been doing a lot of work, and we got wonderful insight into the aspect of summarizing the complex texts, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata. In fact, that attempt has been there with all people. For example, Madhvacharya in Bhagavata Tatparya Nirnaya, he has written a book like that. So efforts are going on, but there is no end. But anyway, today's talk is simply inspiring, sir, Dr. You will have a number of times your participation and inspire so many people. And I'm very much thankful, Doctor. And I was thanking the Veda Prarthana people. And this Vasan, he's an important member and teacher, faculty in the Veda Kendra there in Bengaluru, holding classes on Veda, and we're thankful to him. Then we have the Sangeetam from California, that small girl, so beautiful, she rendered the song, and Kirtana, and then to Dr. Shiva Kumar Chaturvedi and all people. So, Om Sahana Vavato, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvi Navadhitamastu, Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu, Sarvam Sri Veda Purusha Asirvadostu, Om Tat Satu. So next on 20th November, probably a continuation of the avatars, Matsya Kurma Varahavatara discourse will be there by a cardiologist from Atlanta, by Dr. Krishna Mohan, and he is trying to talk much about that from Potana Bhagavatam also, because just now Dr. Nath mentioned Potana Bhagavatam should be summarized, because it's also wonderful Telugu text, and how the great poet Potana has viewed Krishna and Bhagavatam, and the verses are simply wonderful, and so please join the same spirit the next talk in November 20th, same time, on Matsya Kurma Varaha avatars of Vishnu. Because avatars are very, as our Shiva Chaturvedi has told, there's too many in number, but these three important also. So thank you very much. Anything? So Shiva Chaturvedi, I wish you, we'll talk to you again afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank
Namaste.
you so much. Thank you. My Adarni Pranam, humble Pranam to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So very nice, and we'll meet again. Thank you, sir. We'll end up the meeting.